going on, y'all?
Did you do that to me again?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. What's going on, everybody? We are Twin Flames Unite, and we are here again. And today, we actually have a little special. I know the title says something different, but right now we're waiting for one of the radio shows that we're having a interview with today. So we're just waiting for them to get on the line. And actually, it's a good time just to wait for everybody to jump in. Let's see if we got some people coming in. What's up, what's up, what's up? I'm sorry, y'all. I got like way extra energy today for whatever reason. I don't know if it's in the planets in retrograde or what's going on, but your boy is on something today.
That didn't even come out right.
Not like that. No, I don't.
That did not, baby.
I don't do that. But yeah, we
do high vibes.
Yeah, I'm vibing real high right now.
Yeah.
And
really, really high.
I'm vibing off of the good ass prana, not anything else. No drugs, no nothing. I'm just through the roof with high vibrations right now. What's going on?
Hi, Marshawn. Thank you.
Yeah. She got on her pretty red dress today. All right.
I was trying to lift my spirits.
Oh yeah, there you go. Now today, like I said, we're waiting right now to bring one of our friends on that's doing an interview with us, and we're planning on doing an interview. We're just waiting for some stuff to come through on his end, but once we get that up and going, then we'll bring in that interview session so y'all will hear it live as we're talking and see our facial expressions and all that stuff.
That'll be exciting.
All right. Now, depending on how y'all manifestation going, if something just happens to fall through the cracks and we don't get onto this this radio show, we're actually going to go into the topic that's on here because a lot of y'all actually requested for us to talk about this topic. If you see the subject, you know what I mean. So if things fall through the cracks, then we'll dive into that topic with you all.
Not just like that.
Yeah, she doing too much today.
I'm doing a whole lot today.
All right. But one thing I wanted to touch on real quick for everybody who's on here, because I'm pretty sure y'all use YouTube a lot, like we use YouTube a lot.
Oh,
and yesterday, let's talk about YouTube crash. How many of y'all actually experienced YouTube going down yesterday?
For about an hour, a whole hour.
Oh, almost an hour, 2 hours almost.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all experienced that, just leave a comment real quick and let me know if y'all experienced that.
Okay, he's ready.
Oh, he's ready. So we about to call in. So, not for real. We ain't got to be quiet. We just up here.
Yeah, this is not like the last time. Okay, I think he's going to call now.
Okay, he's about to call us. But did anybody experience that yesterday with... Oh, he's calling. Answer on that one. Yeah. All right.
Hi. Hello.
Just leave it there.
Hello, and kudos to Sean Margaret Cohen for telling me about you two. I listened to the interview that you did. Well, everything up until she started taking calls, and then I had to go to bed. But it was a great primer to prepare for this, and I think I'll be using your Twin Flames Unite YouTube channel as a guide to help me think up the best possible subjects and topics, and I'm going to sort those videos by the most popular to make sure I get the most important subjects discussed. So, even though you may have told your life story on Sean Margaret Cohen's radio show, I can give you both the opportunity to do the exact same thing here. For the record, we don't have to go till 9 p.m. if you don't want to. People do have lousy attention spans, and doing 2-hour shows is costing you audience. So if you guys want to cut it short, just let me know, and we'll cut it short. But for the record, we can't go that long, and I'm willing to give you the chance to tell your life story just like you did on Sean's show. I'm going to make sure I ask the questions that she didn't ask and some. So, well, kudos again to her for making it possible for me to have you guest. I thought I wasn't going to get a guest today, but that all changed. So, go ahead. You got the floor. Tell us your life story.
Well, Chris,
from a primary source perspective, please keep it educational and tell us, make sure that the listeners know, okay, these people are definitely worthy of being a good source of information. You experience the things that educated you, that can educate other people. Yeah, so keep it fun and educational, please.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it.
Go ahead, baby. You're on the high vibes today, so you take off.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the energies right now. I'm just like super excited, happy right now. So it's just all good. Okay, so Leisha and I actually met at work back 2016, and when we met in 2016, we were just co-workers. And we ended up becoming friends at work and things of that nature. And at that time, I was still married, but we just kept it as a co-worker friendship type thing.
Yeah, it was pretty platonic.
Yeah. And as time went on, I got my divorce. Leisha ended up going to a whole separate department, and we didn't see each other for about a year. And after that, we both went through our experiences as far as Dark Night of the Soul, being fully awakened, things of that nature, to everything spiritual. And during that time when we did all of our discovering, we both came to the conclusion that self-love and unconditional love for ourselves was the main priority. And once we grasped that concept, then shortly after I went through my Dark Night of the Soul, because Leisha went through hers before I did, shortly after that, we met each other again at the mall during Christmas season, and we just have been together since. And since then, about a month or two while we were together, we actually found out that we were twin flames. Had no idea what twin flames were at the time, but we drew the conclusion of all the T's were crossed, all the I's were dotted. Like, yep, that's us.
And also, we started doing a lot of meditation.
A lot of sun gazing.
Yeah. We stopped eating meat. We are alkaline. We started drinking just alkaline water. We did a lot of fasting, and so with that, we just got more connected with Source, with our higher selves. Mm-hmm. And so we got a lot of confirmation from our higher selves. You know, some people want to call it oversoul or universe, however they want to put it, but we got. Some people call it lit. That's what they call the term. We got lit, illuminated.
We got illuminated.
And since our connection, we've both grown tremendously spiritually, as far as spiritual gifts that was laying dormant within myself and also Chris. That has definitely grown, and it's still growing.
Yes.
So that's another indication, because once you come in contact with your twin flame, it's kind of like fast track growth to ascension and spirituality. So that is definitely what happened with Chris and I.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then since then, we've started a YouTube channel, which was actually Leisha's idea.
Yeah. I didn't really have much of a choice. Like, I felt like I didn't really want to do it because, you know, I'm kind of shy, but not really. Mm-hmm. But it was just like a push that I needed to get it done. And it made me anxious. Like, I started getting anxiety. The more I put it off, the more I felt anxious, because we stumbled upon a lot of knowledge and a lot of information. And I kind of felt compelled to share it with the world. And so that's what I did. So once we started a YouTube channel and we started sharing, then that anxiety went away. So I knew that I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. Yep.
And now we're actually helping other twin flame couples. And with counseling, we do counseling right now. I make jewelry. I didn't know that I could make jewelry. So that's another thing. And Chris is very, very talented. He makes T-shirts. He designs the T-shirts on our website, Third Eye Apparel. So we have a lot of things going on right now. We're in the middle of getting a spiritual retreat together.
Yes.
So, that event is coming up, January the 11th, 2019?
No, we're actually going to push it back to March.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the process of getting all that together for March.
Yeah, so we have a lot of things in the works right now as far as being in our Twin Flame mission. Because I think a lot of people might have questions as far as, what's the big difference between twin flames and soulmates and, just regular relationships.
Well, yes, and I hate to interrupt, but I realized Sean Cohen, she had decided to take it bit by bit, one step at a time on her interview. I think I might as well kill all birds with one stone here by asking, or should I say feed all birds with one seed to make it seem more loving. To ask you one big question, to just put it all into one. I'm going to give you the floor for this. Compare and contrast twin flames, soulmates, kindred spirits, and maybe any other term that I missed there that you guys can think of.
Soul family, maybe?
Yeah, soul family.
Yeah, soul family, yes. Too. Okay, compare and contrast. That's the question.
Go on, Chris.
Okay, I'll jump into it. Okay, so Andrew, actually, with that question, we actually did create a video on that whole topic, breaking down the twin flames, the soulmates, the kindred families, things of that nature. And to break it down simply, your kindred families.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, kindred spirits are people that you just vibe with. They can be people that you work with, like your coworker. Y'all can be real good friends. Or it can be actually a pet sometimes. We actually went through and did some discovery, and I believe that because there was one dog that I had, and we were like super close, and I hate that he passed away, but they can be like kindred spirits. There's nobody that you're going to really have a romantic relationship with. It's just y'all vibe, y'all are friends and stuff like that.
And sometimes it could just be for a really short period of time. You just come in contact with somebody, maybe somebody at the grocery store, but they just gave off such a good vibe.
Right.
So that will be like a kindred spirit.
And then when it comes to a soulmate is someone, I'm losing my words.
From your cluster.
Yeah, not so much from your cluster, but it's someone that you connect with, and when you all are together, it's very harmonious. Like everything just seems to work when you're together. And sometimes that can be, once again, on a relationship level, or sometimes it can be like on a friendship level. So when it comes to soulmates, you're looking for a real harmonious mix. Now, with twin flames, the thing that really separates twin flames from soulmates and kindred families, the first thing is that it deals on a higher dimension. With soulmates and kindred spirits, we're talking about more on the 3D level, but when you start to ascend spiritually, you're talking about twin flames now. But when you're dealing with twin flames, you're looking at somebody who is your perfect mirror. They will point out every flaw that you have and every strength that you have. But it's all designed to trigger you to grow into the best version of yourself. Now, sometimes those twin flames do come together in relationships, which is awesome, because it very rarely happens when your twin flame is also your soulmate. But for the most of the times, and this is where some people kind of want to distance themselves from twin flames, because it can be very chaotic. It can be very painful, because the whole thing about the twin flame is that they're here to trigger you to grow spiritually, and they're going to do it very quickly. Yes. So there's a lot of lessons that come in when you come with your twin flame. if I made that as simple as I could.
Right. And also one of the major differences between the twin flames and the soulmates, it's only one twin flame, but you can have over a lifetime you can have many soulmates. So, and your soulmate doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partner. A soulmate could be a close friend or a family member. It doesn't have to be romantic, but you have many soulmates within a lifetime, but you only have one twin flame.
Yep.
And the main job for the twin flame, like Chris said, is to help with ascension. Helps with your ascension process to kind of make you take a look at yourself outside of yourself, so to speak. Because sometimes it's kind of hard to see where you need to improve upon if you're not looking at yourself outside of yourself. So that's what the twin flame does. That's what the twin flame journey is all about. It's just highlighting those aspects of yourselves that you're not so proud of. And that's why the twin flame relationship can be so chaotic sometimes, is that sometimes you meet your twin flame, but you haven't really dealt with your unresolved issues, karma and stuff like that, insecurities. And so when you meet your twin flame, they're going to mirror you. So if you brush something under the rug and you think it's gone away and nobody hasn't noticed, your twin flame is going to bring it right up in your face and you're going to have to address it. And so that's how the run and the chaser phase starts.
Yep.
And it's really all about self-love, learning how to love yourself unconditionally. All the good and bad aspects about yourself, it's just kind of fusing the two and just accepting yourself for who you are completely. That way when you do come into union with your twin and you see those sides of yourself that you really don't like that much, but you already accepted it, now you can love unconditionally. So that's pretty much what it is. It's ascension. The twin flame journey is about ascension and about learning how to love yourself unconditionally. I hope that cleared it up.
Yes, I think it did pretty well. By the way, there's something vibrating and beeping and making noises in the background, whatever that is. If you could get that out of the way so it's not a nuisance throughout the rest of this.
Yeah, it might be messages that's coming through.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Let me just turn that off. Yeah, it's a lot of messages. Okay, hang on. Let me go to... Oh, don't you just love technology? Notifications.
It's not even a Mercury retrograde and things.
Let me see.
And right here, never. Okay, so I turned it off, so
yeah,
that should take care of that.
All right, that's good to know. All right, you brought up a few things that you guys do that I want to elaborate on in great detail before I start looking at some of your specific videos. Well, first of all, this thing about soul families. And how do you know if someone is in your soul family? Well, tell me, maybe I'm right or wrong about this, and I'd like you guys to tell me about it. I'd like to give you a personal experience I had, and you tell me, well, maybe my hunch is right on the dot here, and if other people have had similar experiences, they can relate to this. If you ever, like, a celebrity or a sports star or someone like that, if you have feelings about them, good feelings, then chances are they have a soul family connection to you. And if you seem to not like them and you don't know why you don't like them, chances are something in a past life you kind of were at odds with them, and now it's manifesting.
Right.
Is there possibly some truth to that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I actually 100% agree with that analogy. Your soul family, these are people that you choose to incarnate with here over a period of lifetimes. Like you come in together to learn certain lessons, karmic lessons and stuff like that. That's what we believe from our experiences. So if you meet someone and you don't, maybe they never done you anything, but it's just something about them you don't really like that much. You might need to pay close attention because you might have some kind of karmic to clear with that person from a previous lifetime.
Yes.
So that's how I feel about that analogy. And your soul family, again, is just people that you incarnate with over and over again for a period of lifetimes, because I guess they have something that they might be able to teach you in this lifetime, or maybe you might be able to teach them, so you pick them before you come here.
Yeah, that's so true. And just to piggyback on what Leisha was just saying, for the people who follow us on our YouTube, they know that we are big fans of Sense8.
Oh,
and
yes.
if you've ever seen Sense8 on Netflix, then that would be, in my opinion,
A really good
example of a soul family, because they were all in a cluster together. They were all in different parts of the world, but they were all connected. And so, like, a soul family is kind of like that.
Yeah.
To give an example of it.
Have you ever seen Sense8, Andrew?
No, I have not.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's on Netflix if you ever have a chance to watch it.
If you ever have some time.
I don't subscribe to Netflix. Do subscribe to Amazon Prime because I shop at Whole Foods and I needed the discount. But maybe I will subscribe to Netflix sometime too. Yeah, I've had many experiences myself with people who I suspect may have soul family connections. Hear the name in the news or watching sports or something. One of the more prominent instances was this last football season, the Monday Night Football game between the Eagles and the Redskins. Eagles linebacker Jordan Hicks suffered a season-ending injury at the beginning of the game. Yeah, I was pretty crushed by it, but I didn't react negatively. But then in the start of the second half, when Eagles left tackle Jason Peters suffered a season-ending injury, the next thing I knew, I was breaking down in tears.
Wow.
And I had feelings about Jason Peters ever since Eagles traded for him in 2010, and I didn't know why, but now I'm thinking after my spiritual awakening, okay, he and I probably have soul family connections, and unlike Jordan Hicks, I don't have any, so is that probably a good hypothesis that the reason I broke down into tears?
Yeah.
I could have guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good hypothesis. Hypothesis. I'm getting tongue-tied talking. But as you said that, it brought up something else, which is something even more deeper. Because as we grow through our spiritual path, we come to the realization that we're really all just one. Because we all originally came from Source. Just in different versions, having different experiences, pretty much being stars in our own movie. But in keeping that in mind, we are so connected to everyone when we actually open ourselves up to it that we can feel the emotions for somebody going through a particular situation. Now, that person definitely could be in your soul family, but on a bigger grand scheme, is that we're really all connected to each other. So whatever someone else is experiencing, we can also experience it as well if we open ourselves up to that perspective.
Well, thank you, and we'll get into that later on. I have another story to tell of sorts that I think helps better explain how reality may work at that level. But moving on to some other things you mentioned, sun gazing. This is a controversial issue because I've heard different people give different takes on whether or not it is safe or unsafe to sun gaze with open eyes, not just at the first hour of sunrise and first hour of sunset when the UV index is 0, but any time of day. I mean, Chief Golden Light Eagle, when I was at one of his conferences, his 11/11 conferences back in last year, 2017, he said that it's safe to do it any time, and his wife, who had vision problems, actually looked at the sun with open eyes like solar noon during the summer solstice. You think is the worst time to do it, and she actually had her vision improved. And I'm thinking, well, what's going on here? This is totally counterintuitive to what all the other sun gazers say. And when I asked Chief Golden Light Eagle, how do you explain people who suffer burned retinas and other eye damage when they sun gaze without the flinching of an eye, he told me they're not in the right state of mind. They have something at a subconscious level that makes them either fear sun gazing or makes them think that they're not able to do it the right way, or okay, but let me get this straight here. In a perfect world, when you realize, okay, we're all infinite consciousness, we can all mind over matter, we can, in theory, look at the sun with open eyes and sun gaze in the middle of the day at solar noon on the summer solstice. In reality, that the world, the frequency of this world exists, it's not in your best interest to do that, even if you think you can. So it's better to maybe do it closed-eyed during that time of the day and open-eyed only during the first hour of sunrise and sunset. So what do you guys guys have to say about this controversial issue.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, Chris loves this topic, actually. He came up with an entire analogy based off of his own experience when he actually wears glasses, and when he was sun gazing, his vision actually started improving. Now, from my perspective, I would say that if you know that you're not at that, if you're not ready, if your mind is not ready, then yes, do not go and look at the sun at high midday, because you're not there yet. You might want to start out looking at the sun like 30 minutes before it does rise and 30 minutes before it does set, and build yourself up slowly so that your body can have the resistance to the high beams. Right. Because there is healing within the sun. It gives off rays and energies, and it's energy. Like plants, trees, we all need a sun. It gives us life, literally. Yes. So I would just say that it's a mind. It is a mind over matter thing, because there was this study that they did with the sugar pill, and they gave people the sugar pill, people who were actually sick. And the ones that they gave the sugar pill, because they believed in this pill so much, they actually healed themselves with their mind. So the mind is a very powerful tool, and it's a lot of places in the mind that we have not even tapped into yet as human beings. Right. So I wouldn't shut that out all the way, saying that, it's not possible for us to do it. I would just say that we have to just be real with ourselves and know what we are capable of at the particular time.
Yes.
That's how I see that. Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Yeah. Totally. It is a mindset, and it actually didn't even dawn on me until y'all actually said that, because when I started sun gazing, I did it for the full intent of opening up my pineal gland, like some of our people just commented on our YouTube video. That was my whole intention. Like, I wanted to open up my pineal gland. I wanted to really start looking at things through my third eye, and I definitely got what I asked for. Absolutely. But for anybody who is looking to start sun gazing, definitely, like Leisha just said, start out doing it right when the sun comes up or right before the sun goes down. Yes. And build your tolerance up, because it's to the point now that now for me personally, like sometimes when you're driving, that sun gets in the way, and they can actually, a lot of people can't see anything, and they put their sun visors down. But me, I leave that sun visor up, and I just take in the rays, and I keep driving. And like, it doesn't even affect me anymore.
Right, because your mind's, your state of mind has actually shifted. Mm-hmm. So that programming now is not affecting you. So it's not at the back of your mind thinking, oh, I hope I don't get blind, because that's already out of your mind. So you're in a different dimension, pretty much. Yeah. A different way of thinking.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but other than that, there's also I've written a couple articles on sun gazing that's been put out on the net, and I did my research pretty well with them. But one other factor that has to take into account is, to what extent is there a collective consciousness placebo effect with this? And what I mean by that is there's a mother who worries about her kids getting the flu every winter, and her kids get the flu every winter until she stops work. But well, this is significant to me in particular. Having a mother who's an ophthalmologist, I've been bitched at for sun gazing a lot by her and her friends and her colleagues. And I'm thinking, well, if they keep worrying about me and they keep thinking that I'm going to suffer vision damage, and I do suffer vision damage after sun gazing, should I blame them and not the sun for the damage because they thought the collective consciousness placebo effect by manifesting their thoughts? Or does it not work like that?
Well, no, you actually can't.
Oh, no, you got a point.
I mean, you got a good point. I would blame them. Only because it's a collective consciousness. Yes. And collectively together you could move mountains. Like, you could do a lot. There was this one study one time where these monks, they conducted that study. What was it, like? It was 600?
Yeah, it's like 600 monks meditating in Chicago to help lower the crime rate. And just them meditating for 10, 15 minutes, the crime rate actually went down like 10-20% just because of them meditating and thinking about the crime rate going down.
The collective consciousness. So if you want to blame them, I'll go right ahead. We won't be mad at you.
Yeah.
Because you're right.
Some people have asserted that reality doesn't work like that. You actually have to allow for the damage to affect you. But then again, I'm thinking, well, what about voodoo? I mean, people who suffer from voodoo don't allow for the voodoo doll of them to affect them, and it still manages to affect them. So that opens up a whole new series of questions.
That does.
Yeah,
that does.
And actually, to cover that point, as well as demonic attacks, voodoo spells, all this stuff, seeing ghosts coming out and attacking you. Leisha actually broke this down one time, very simple. In order for entities or anything like that to cause any harm to you, first you have to accept it.
That's number one.
That's one thing. But then the other thing is about how you're vibrating. Because you have to understand, with most of those spells, voodoo, demons, stuff like that, they vibrate on a really low level.
Yep.
And if you're vibrating at a low level, like you match what they're doing, then yes, they can affect you.
Yep.
But if you're constantly raising your vibrations to the point where you're so high and they're down below you, there's nothing that they can do to you.
Yeah, because then you would not be a vibrational match. You have to be a vibrational match for an entity or whatever to attach to you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks. That's generally what other people have also said in regards to the issue. All right, let's move on to another subject of meat eating and fasting. This is watched a few videos on this fasting, talking about how it actually enhances the brain's ability when you fast, and many people would find that to be quite counterintuitive. You think doesn't your brain need food to work well? Well, apparently not. There are exceptions, and fasting, whatever the reason, is one, and maybe we can get into that. Also, the extent to which eating meat and animal products is harmful. As the Earth's vibrational frequency rises, it's naturally a consequence of that people are going to eat less and less meat and animal products. I myself have had that happen. My meat eating habits have gone down and down and down over time, and I don't know if I'll ever give up eating meat entirely, but they continue to go down, and they probably will continue to go down until the day I die. So that's which is a good thing. But I mean, to think that eating meat is the ultimate sin, because can you prevent yourself from taking on the karma of the animal if you bless your food, or is blessing never going to really solve the problem entirely? You're still going to have problems even if you try to bless it and whatnot. So I'm asking a lot of questions here at once, but
those are good questions.
Yeah. Well, okay, you got them. Why don't you have the floor here and tell us about fasting and how it works, and whether eating meat is good or bad.
Well, as far as the fasting, anything that you do suddenly, or anything that your body has to adapt to, it's going to take time for you to adjust. So if you have never fasted before and this is something that's new to you, in the beginning you might get a little lightheaded, you might get a little gas, and everything has to be done in moderation. So if you want to do it successfully, I would suggest, if you want to fast, you've never done this before, you might want to take it, instead of like trying to fast for 3 weeks and stuff like that, you might want to start out maybe doing a couple days or a week or something like that, and lessen your intake as the time goes by. Now, once your body has adjusted and you're able to do it, then you can go for longer periods, like 3, 4, 5 weeks or whatever have you, and then you will really start to feel the benefits of fasting, because you talk of feeding your body. Your body, it's good. You feed your body, but you also have to feed your spirit. And by putting less into your body, it kind of gives you a better connection with source, with your oversoul, with your higher self. It sends you into that trance. It's easier. It allows for an easier connection, because then you're not so much focused on the food and the hunger and stuff like that. You actually have a chance to really go within and connect with who you really are, like the essence of who you really are. So I think fasting is an awesome thing. It's just you have to do everything in moderation to fit your body, and everybody's different. Your DNA, the makeup is all different. So you have to do what works and what aligns for you. And as far as the meat and stuff like that, again, everybody's body is different. The blood types are different. And I just learned this recently, because I've been a vegetarian for quite some time, and I've always liked not eating meat because I thrive on being a vegetarian. But maybe for somebody else with a different blood type, a different makeup, so to speak, it might not be such a good thing for them. And I would go deeper into the topic, but that's getting really, really, really extra deep.
That's going down the rabbit hole.
That's going down way down the rabbit hole. So, but just for understanding and education, being on a vegetarian or a vegan diet is awesome, and it does really help you. But for some people's makeup or some entities' makeup that's here on planet Earth, it might not be so beneficial for them, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, thank you very much. I do understand what you're saying. Well, nobody understands the nature of reality. You has a tough time understanding it than I do, and that's why I'm the host of this show.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we got into some of those subjects. I guess now I'll go into looking at your YouTube channel and some of the more popular videos and some of the things we can elaborate on. I ask you to give an abridged version of the specific video in question I'd like to talk about. First of all, the most popular video of all seems to be 5 Things Twin Flames Won't Tell You.
Yes.
Okay, what are those 5 things? Maybe elaborate on them a little bit.
That video has gotten so much attention, and we actually we were gonna go live and dive more into the supple bodies. It's the electromagnetic field outside of your bodies, like your aura and stuff like that, and how when twin flames come together, how the sex actually intensifies times 100.
Yes.
Because it's like it's a match, so everything is really intensified. And a lot of twin flames come together. Like, some of them don't even know that they're twin flames, and they have sex with their counterpart, and it's like their minds is just gone, blown. Like, and then they don't pay any attention to anything else. They're not even worried about the spiritual aspect. Some of them not really fully awoke, and they're caught up on the sex, because it's the way that I describe it is like you have a key and then there's a lock, and and it's like a perfect fit. It's like and then it aligns your chakras. When you with your twin flame, it really ignites your chakras.
Kundalini.
And then it activates your kundalini, and so it's kind of like almost mind blowing.
Yes.
So the sex with the twin flames, it is real and it is true.
Yeah.
It's very intensified. It's heightened, and it's very enjoyable, and that's all because of the chakra system, and the match, the perfect match.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, moving on to the second most popular video, 7 Hermetic Principles.
That's our favorite.
This always makes for good conversation whenever it comes up. Well, what do you have to say about the 7 Hermetic Principles? What can you tell us about them?
Well, for one, they're very important, and I'll say this because this is actually a conclusion that I came to myself as well when I was trying to find out what's real in this world.
Oh yeah.
And when I had to take a step back and think about how do you define real, what's real? Yeah. And what's real is something that never changes. It always is and always will be. And when you look at man-made laws, they change very frequently. Constantly. So they're not real. They're just an illusion. And so I really wanted to find something that I could really stand on firm and it not fall away, and it's something that could help me throughout my life. And so we started diving into the Hermetic Principles, looking into the Emerald Tablets. And through that, we found that those natural laws, the 7 Hermetic Principles, are actually what everything is really built on. As far as energy is always in motion, there's polarity
to everything.
There's female and male in every aspect. You know,
as within, so without, as above, so below.
Yeah.
When you take a look at the universe outside, look at the lightning. When the lightning strikes, and you look at the veins in your hands, it's the same.
Same.
If you magnify the body to the smallest molecular structure, and then you look at space, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So as above, so below, as within, so without, and that can also be applied to your inner and your outer world. Like, it's really principles of self-mastery, teaching you how to master yourself. and how to take control of your life, how to create your own world, your own reality. So I think that everybody should know the 7 Hermetic principles, because you can utilize it in your everyday life to get to the highest and the best version of yourself.
Yeah. Because here's the thing that most people don't realize when it comes to the 7 Hermetic principles. It's just like the law of gravity. It's going to be there and it's going to affect you whether you know about it or not.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to tell a 2-year-old about gravity, but if they jump off the bed, they're going to fall down.
Exactly.
And that's the same thing with the 7 Hermetic principles when it comes to natural laws. These laws are going to affect you whether you want them to or not.
Or whether you believe in it or not. It doesn't need you to believe in it for it to happen.
So it's best to know what's going on so you know how to best move throughout this reality.
Exactly. And beyond.
Yeah, I've been looking into 7 Hermetic principles myself. One of the speakers, seen a couple conferences, Bill Carson, I believe his name is.
Yes.
He talks about that in great detail.
Forbidden knowledge.
Forbidden knowledge. That's our guy.
I've
seen his presentations at the Detroit conference and also the recent conference in Orange County, Porto Ascension, that I was at. So definitely worth looking into. Moving down to some of the other videos here. How to protect yourself from negative energy. Now, this is definitely good advice I'm sure you can offer, but there's something I want to touch on here that a lot of people makes people a little nervous to hear this, that some of the people who do the best they can to protect themselves, even they have succumbed to problems. I mean, like Andrew Bartzis, the Akashic Records reader, and George Kavassilis, metaphysics expert from Australia, they do all kinds of spiritual work to spread love and whatnot, and yet Andrew Bartzis, in the case of him, he at a conference that he went to back in 2013, he was being attacked by entities galore, and it was said that he probably would have lost his life had he not seeked help from some people. And George Kavassilis, he said the Galactic Federation of Light, not the good one, but the bad one that masquerades as the good one, has been toying with his mind for years. And he says, these thoughts, they're not mine, and I know when they're not mine, and I know that they're toying with me. Well, if these guys who do all sorts of things to protect themselves can't protect themselves, well, then how can anybody? And I myself have to say a few things about this, because I seem to have and I don't want to jinx this or anything, been sabotaged by AI a few times. Couple shows I've had myself only recorded, and my listener's voice was completely silent. Two times that happened. And it doesn't seem to be a problem with some recent interviews, but there have been a good slew of interviews in the past where my voice, when people listen to my show with headphones, my voice was in one ear, the guest was in the other. And I don't know how to solve that problem, and I'm thinking it's got to be, well, if it's not the technology, then it must be artificial intelligence sabotage, which, of course, is a form of negative energy.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, what can I do to stop this? And I don't know what to tell my listeners. I'll just suck it up and deal with it. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna let you.
Make sure you talk about floor burn today when we were looking at our video.
You know what?
We protect ourselves.
Yeah. Wow. Now that video is very powerful, and I wish that got more attention than the sex video did.
Yeah.
But one of the things that Lisha and I did from the beginning is that we were very careful on how we moved, because we understood that once we start this YouTube channel, then we're going to expose ourselves to the world.
Yep.
So we took a lot of precautions to help protect ourselves, and in knowing that the more attention that we get, there's going to come attention from other entities that don't want us to say what we're saying.
Of course.
And we've seen a lot of YouTube stars that are getting a lot of attention, like Flo Burn, Flight Boss. Like when they come out and they start speaking esoteric knowledge, which is really not hidden anymore, it's out there. Anybody can Google it and they can find it. But when big influencers like that share information, they become a greater target.
Yeah.
Now, for us, we wow, that's a whole nother video. But we move very carefully.
Very cautiously.
We interact with certain people. Like we keep our circle very tight. Like you can put our circle inside of a dot right now, as far as like the people that we keep around us. But there are some things that can be done, and actually, Alicia was the one who taught me the most about this, because I was just walking around the world naked as far as being spiritually protected.
Just out there looking crazy in these streets. But there are things that you could do as far as protecting yourself. And one of the things that, there are people who are out there who are doing good for people, and they're doing this and they're helping. But one thing that you have to bear in mind is that even the people who are helping now in the present, we don't really know their past. Because sometimes, and I'm not saying this is what anybody's doing, I'm just giving an example. I've seen this myself, where people go and they call it make deals with the devil, so to speak. Like they might have a certain entity, and you can go to that entity and that entity will give you a favor, or they'll do something for you, but then they will want their payment back. Now, let's say it's like 10 years down the line, you already made it big, you're helping and you're doing what you want to do. Now this entity is coming to collect. And so to everybody else, you're going to look like the bad guy being attacked. But what they don't know is that you had to fulfill your end of the bargain with this entity that you went to give you what you have now. So that can be a case where it looks like somebody is being attacked, but it's really that they have debt that they have to pay. So that can be one scenario, because I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't go to entities to request any favors, because I know that with every favor it comes time to pay. Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be a debt accumulated with an entity giving you something, some form of help. So I always make sure I check my aura. I have my selenite wand. I do a scan. And usually with the selenite wand, it's really good, because if you feel like
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby's a good example. If you feel like cold patches around where you're scanning with the selenite, it's usually maybe a tear or a rip in your aura. Whenever you have tears and rips in your aura, it can deplete your energy very quickly, and it's room for things to attach to you, and energy vampires to suck your energy. So you always want to make sure that, you take salt baths, because salt gets rid, it kind of cleans your auric field. Meditation, try not to be making deals and stuff, and doing all those stuff. Like, it just allows you, open for things to attach to you. And then that's when the problem starts.
Yeah.
So, and then I wear my crystals, because the black crystals are very helpful. They do help to repel negative energy, and the stuff that comes off from the cell phone, it helps to repel that also. So you could utilize Mother Nature, because she does help also. Take sea baths, go to the beach, take salt baths. Salt is amazing. It'll cut any kind of energy very quickly. So it's pretty.
I want to ask you something about those crystals you say that you wear. One could make the argument that if you truly are on a mission, as we should be, to manifest the meaning of life, of raising consciousness, and you want to make the best consciousness expansion that you can be, then in theory, you should at some point be able to stop having to use things like crystals and pendants and things that protect you from EMF energies, to the point where it's not really necessary anymore. I myself have had some experiences where I've had a few crystals get lost or break, or EMF chips disappear, and I'm thinking, well, is this the universe's way of saying you don't need this anymore?
Yes, I have had that happen. Like, I've had I used to have a pink, that's my first crystal that I had, was the pink quartz. And I got that because I was struggling with loving myself. That's when I was going through the whole dark night of the soul and stuff like that. And so I bought my first pink rose quartz, and I loved it, and it really did help me with the vibration. It did lift me up and everything like that, and it broke once, and I was like, oh no, my crystal broke, let me go get another one. I got another one a few days after it broke, and so I started paying attention. I'm like, well, wait a minute, I really don't need this anymore. I love myself. I'm okay. So I took that as the universe is telling me that I don't need that anymore, and I do believe that I know that when you get to a certain place along this journey, you will not need those things anymore.
True.
Because then you would have been able to activate it, your macabre. You could be able to protect yourself without all of these things, because the body is amazing. The mind is amazing. We're built to do these things. But some of our codes are not fully activated within our DNA. So until all those 64 codes in your DNA is fully activated, you might want to just wear a crystal or two.
Yeah. And you know what? That's actually something I learned from the late, great Sylvia Brown. She had mentioned something before about if your crystals break or if they disappear, that's a sign that you may not need those anymore.
Yeah.
And if you actually do ever need them, then they will reappear.
They will come back.
Because I had a pouch full of crystals at one point, and for the longest time, like, they had disappeared and I couldn't find them at all. And some of our viewers talking about they lost their crystals too.
Wow.
But when you need your crystals, they actually reappear, because 2 years later, that same pouch with all 6 crystals just magically appeared. I was like, I've been looking for these everywhere, and now they just up and reappear. So crystals are very alive. Mm-hmm. They're from the earth. They hold the vibration. You can tell because of the colors, and everybody knows that colors have vibrations.
Yep.
So they are very alive, and when you need them, they're always there for you. And if you don't need them, then they will disappear.
Yeah.
So once again, it's all a state of mind.
Yeah. Your level of awareness.
Right. Moving on to another topic here, another popular video. Forgiveness is the key.
Oh.
Now, this one raises a lot of questions in regards to forgiveness and justice, and here's a problem in life that we all have to deal with. On one hand, they say justice is something you should always find. You got to saddle up your boys. You got to draw a hard line. Other people like George Kavaslis have said, I don't really seek justice because justice is a glorified revenge to me. But then again, if someone does something bad to you and you're flat out forgiving them, does that not send the message to the universe saying, I don't care if bad things happen to me, so people can take advantage of me, so that increases the possibility of something bad happening to you again? I mean, how do you know when it's okay to forgive someone, and how do you know when forgiving someone is maybe going to cause bad luck for you because you're going to get taken advantage of because the universe thinks, okay, it's okay for me to allow people to take advantage of you because you're willing to forgive anyone for anything, no matter how sick they do it.
Yeah, well, I have had to forgive, and I'll take this one because I feel like it's probably one of my lessons here on planet Earth, being that I struggle with forgiveness so much. So for me, when I was growing up as a young girl, between the ages of 7 and 13, I was molested by a cousin that lived with us. He was the only guy that was in the house with my mom. Well, she adopted me. She's my great aunt, but I call her my mom. And the first time when I was molested, I was 7. We had just moved into our new house. And I found it very strange. Like, it was very confusing. I didn't understand what was going on. And then this progressed as I got older. And then I started realizing what was going on. So I was born in the Caribbean, by the way. Very beautiful island called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So when I got to the age of 19, when I was fully in awareness of what took place, I just couldn't look at him anymore. So I left. I was in college. I got out of college and I saved all of my money from a job that I got. And I got on a plane and I came to the United States of America with $150 in my pocket, and the rest is history. But I never dealt with that. molestation. I just swept it under the rug, and I tried to move on with my life. And what was happening was that it was actually manifesting itself in different ways in my life, and I didn't realize it until I finally went to therapy last year. When I had the dark night of the soul, all of that came up. So when I went to therapy, my therapist was able to help me with that, and then I started understanding forgiveness, because I thought that forgiveness means that, you're going to get away with it. But forgiveness is actually not for the person.
Nope.
Forgiveness is actually for yourself. On a spiritual standpoint, forgiving someone is actually releasing them from you. Because by you not forgiving someone, you can think of it as holding on to a rope that's actually cutting into your hand. And so when you're not forgiving, you're holding on to that rope, and it's cutting you up until you're bleeding now, and you're still holding and you're bleeding more. But forgiveness is letting go of that rope, so it's not cutting you anymore.
Yeah.
So that's what I realized for forgiveness, and I went even further into forgiveness, and I might lose some people here, but before we come into this earth, before we incarnate here,
Oh, you better say it.
we actually here to learn life lessons. That's why it's called a university. It's a big school, universe. So when we come here, okay, I might say, listen, I need to learn forgiveness. I'm going to need you to come here and do this to me, treat me this way so that I can learn how to forgive. So it's actually something that's actually set up before you come here. So the way that I was able to forgive this child molesting person was to change my perspective, first of all. So when I understand that I'm here to learn lessons, I was thinking, well, why would I want to be molested? So then I realized that it was for my own soul growth. So he had to come here to actually help me. So I guess he had to actually lower his vibration to molest me, to help me, so that I can learn forgiveness. And that's how I was able to forgive him, because I understand that we are here to learn life lessons.
Yes.
And if one of my life lessons is to learn how to forgive, then I have to encounter a certain situation so that I can be able to learn true forgiveness. And I know I might have lost a few people on that end, but that's how I was able to understand forgiveness and on a spiritual standpoint, so to speak. And in the 3D, for those who are in the 3D, forgiveness is for yourself. It's not for the other person. It actually hurts you more. Grudge is a very low vibration, and it's dense. And so those things can actually get stuck in your body like energetic fields, and it can form different things within your system. So you want to forgive, and you want to release and let those things go, so for your own benefit, not for the other person. Forgiveness doesn't mean that the other person won and you lost. It just means that you have released yourself from that individual, and it doesn't make what they did right. It just means that you're free.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that being said, I hate to single people out like this, but one person that I really admire for his work and things he tries to do to wake people up and all, Eddie Craig of Rule of Law Radio, he's the kind of person that feels that justice is something you should always find. Saddle Up the Boys, Draw a Hard Line. That was a song he used to play on his as an opening on his show. And he's the kind of guy that would do whatever he can to play chess with the system in order to file a lawsuit against them in the event that things take a turn for the worse. He's made a script of sorts to how to handle police encounters, and he's designed it in such a way so that in the event that the police decide to arrest you unlawfully and whatnot and make your life miserable, you can sue them for a fortune, and he actually advocates doing that. Are you actually suggesting, from a standpoint of trying to find love in the universe, he's going about it the completely wrong way, and what should he be doing? Why not should he be doing that? I mean, what are we supposed to do to make sure that the people that are supposed to be our servants stay in line when they abuse their authority? How do you make sense of this?
Well, that's a good point. I really think that we're all here for different purposes, different reasons. Maybe that's his purpose. Maybe that's why he's here. Maybe that's his experience. So I'm not going to I'm just going to not put judgment on him to say whether he's doing something right or wrong. maybe he's fulfilling his calling. So I can't look at the way he handles forgiveness or the way he ridicules people or put people to justice, because that he might just be doing what he's here to do, so to speak.
Because like it all goes back to everybody. It has their own movie that they're starring in, and there are other like guests that show up or co-stars or things of that nature, or just what do you call the people in the background?
The extras.
Yeah, the extras in your movie, and you never know, this particular person may come in and out of different people's lives to help them learn a lesson. And I don't even know if I should go into this one, but like take Hitler for example.
Oh boy.
Like he came through and really messed some things up. I mean, he did some awful things. But playing the devil's advocate here, if you look at the effect of what happened afterwards, of how strong it made the Jewish community afterwards, and how compassion came from that. It's just like when you go through hard times in your life, you have to go through certain things in order to appreciate what you have or where you've come from. Because for me, growing up in the ghetto where there was like people shooting, one person got killed outside of my window, like I had to go through that to experience living in a nice neighborhood
to appreciate
that's quiet, to really appreciate it. So everybody comes here for a different reason, a different purpose, a different mission, and it's not either good or bad. It's just is.
It's just that's their experience. He might be here to teach somebody to appreciate their job, or you know. So we can't really judge him to say whether what he's doing is right or wrong. That's his experience. That's his movie that he's starring in. Just like it's my movie that I'm starring in, that I'm here to forgive, so I choose to forgive. And I got the lesson, so I don't have to experience that anymore, because I already got it.
Yep.
I'm glad you gave your take on that. And the thing about moving to the dark night of the soul, it seems like a lot of people are going to have to go through that in the coming months. I recently watched a video. Brad Johnson, who channels the entity Atronus, said that 2019 is going to be a year of a lot of disclosure. It's going to be a year where a lot of information comes out that makes sheeple angry and makes whistleblowers and conspiracy theorists say, "I told you so."
Yes.
And that's going to cause a lot of people to have to go to the dark night of the soul. And apparently it appears that you say woohoo.
Yes.
But the thing is, how are people going to be able to handle this? Is society going to fall apart because people can't handle the truth? That's another thing to take into account.
Wow.
Is it possible that all the inability from a collective consciousness standpoint of people to cope with this and realize that the conspiracy theorists are right all along about things like 9/11, and I did stress 9/11. He did stress that. That's things are going to come out about that in the future, saying, the truth movement was right all along about that. So get ready, folks. It's going to be hard to swallow. How are people supposed to handle this if they can't handle the truth? How's that going to affect society for those of us who can handle the truth? Are we going to have to suffer because we got sheep all around us?
Oh, boy.
I like that terminology.
I hate to use the word sheeple, but I use it because it proves a point.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
You get my drift.
And you are so correct.
Yeah.
There is a major disclosure that's going to happen. The entities that don't want this disclosure to happen are doing everything they can to stop it.
Everything.
For example, YouTube going down for about 2 hours yesterday.
Fair tactics.
But
what was that all about, by the way? Do you guys know what that was about?
Oh, yes. We have the whole rundown of what it was about. But I don't even know if we could say that.
I don't know if we got enough time to do
Not even enough time, but I don't know if we'll send you the information after the video, because we don't want nobody outside our house.
Okay.
Come looking for us.
I was wondering what's going on here last night. That was happening, so
yeah.
All right, but anyway, carry on about sheeple not being able to handle the truth and how it affects the rest of us in 2019. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, and you're right. It is going to push a lot of people into the dark night of the soul. They're going to start questioning their existence, their whole reason for being here.
Exactly.
And the best advice that I can give to anybody that is going through that process, or, well, that they're not gonna know when they're gonna go through it. It's just gonna hit them like a ton of bricks.
It's just gonna hit them.
So
wake up.
So if anybody who's listening to this, when this happens to you, the one thing that really helped me out through my dark night of the soul is one particular question, and I've said this in a couple of different videos that we've done, is when I was in that lowest point and I didn't want to exist in this world anymore, I asked myself, if nothing in my reality changed, if everything stayed the same, what would I need to do in order to be happy? Now, that answer is going to be different for a lot of people because there are certain things that make them happy.
Right.
But for myself, it was the point of, if I could love myself, then I'll be okay. If nothing else changed, because I had just went through my divorce, starting all over again, being a roommate with another married couple, which was awful. Oh my God. But I mean, it was like the worst part of my life.
Yes.
But I had to find something to grab hold on in order to continue. And so if anybody is going through that, or when you get to the point where you actually go through that, if you can remember that one question, that's going to be a breakthrough. And that's actually a breakthrough that I got from Michael Beckwith. He was on a Super Soul Sunday one time with Oprah Winfrey. And that question just always stuck with me. And that was a question that helped him get out of the dark night of the soul. So if y'all are familiar with Michael Beckwith from Law of Attraction, things of that nature, that question helped him to get out of his dark night of the soul to be the big influencer that he is today.
And then it helped you.
Yeah.
And so now you're just passing it forward.
Yep.
And then you guys can do the same thing, just pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good, baby. You're smart.
I try.
Yeah, so.
Thank you for that advice. All right, getting back to that thing I mentioned near the beginning of the show about how, we're all one and everything manifests different experiences and all that, and the universe has ways of playing things out.
Yeah.
There's a little story I'd like to tell here. Not a story. Apparently it's true because this is what an Akashic Records reader told me. Andrew Bartzis told me during a session. And I feel it's maybe significant to tell this because it kind of helps explain the ways by which the universe has ways of telling us that this is what could happen or would happen or should happen on alternate timelines and such.
Yes.
But here's the deal. Back in junior high school, I found myself having an obsession with Pete Incaviglia, who was the greatest slugger in the history of college baseball. Didn't know why, didn't know what was going on, but eventually it manifested law of attraction style as my family and I went during spring break down to Florida, and I discovered that the place where his spring training his team was having spring training was just a stone's throw from where we had the hotel, so I decided to go there, meet up with him, have my picture taken with him, and it was pretty joyous and all. And well, many years before that, 1996 Phillies game, Lee Tinsley played for the Phillies. He fouled off a ball. Ball bounced off the upper deck railing, headed in my direction. I leaped out of my seat, realizing the ball was coming towards me. After a few bounces, the ball landed in my seat. A bunch of people reached their hands into the seat, and the old man sitting next to me was the one who eventually came up with it. He decided to give the ball to me because he felt sorry for me that I had to witness all that happening in my seat and all that, and didn't get the ball, so he gave it to me because he felt I deserved it. And well, what's the point of this? Well, it turns out that Andrew Bartzis, in my session with him, he told me that there was an alternate timeline in which I did not get cut by my discriminatory baseball coach in 10th grade. He cut me because everybody joked around with me and he thought I was going to be a distraction. I have no doubt, no question that that's what happened. Well, if I had not gotten cut, I would have actually been playing so well, and I would have been playing for the Philadelphia Phillies. And would you know that Pete Incaviglia and Lee Tinsley were actually coaches on that Phillies team that I played for on an alternate timeline, and I don't think it was an accident that the picture with Pete Incaviglia and the foul ball that Lee Tinsley hit, but I don't think those were accidents. So I feel that if this is true, and I have no doubt it is true because the Akashic records say it, so it must be true.
Yes.
Does this tell you anything about how the universe has ways of playing things out to show you, wink, wink, this is how things happen on alternate timelines, and I have ways of telling you?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you would not believe what happened to me this, what is it, last week, baby?
Yeah, last Saturday.
This is how we know there's something going on with the timelines. Like, it's just, it makes absolutely no sense in this entire world. Okay, so usually I used to work at the bank, and so whenever we had like rough times, there was this grant that you can apply for, and they'll help you and stuff like that. So we've been doing okay, so we didn't have to apply for any kind of grants or anything. So I'm laying in my bed. What day was it, baby?
It was Saturday morning.
It was Saturday morning, and we got a call saying that we got approved for something, for a grant or whatever. So I'm like, hold up.
I didn't apply for it.
What do you... So I'm going along with the phone call. I'm like, okay, all right, thank you. And she's like, yeah, just expect the funds in your account in the next couple of days. And because the process for this is really long. It's lengthy.
Almost like a week.
So I would remember if I did. And I'm like, well, this isn't making any sense. And the only thing that made sense was the whole situation that's going on right now with the timelines. Because apparently in another time I did put in the app. Because so that's the only thing that makes sense right now, because there's no way possible that I can get approved for something that I didn't even put in. So you see what I'm saying? It's just that's the only explanation.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yes, and then there's the whole Mandela effect thing, but that's...
That's a whole nother...
You have something to say about that? You've had experiences with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
With so back in 2012, I went on this diet after my son was born. The Beyonce diet, they call it, with the cayenne pepper and the maple syrup stuff. You know, have you ever heard about that? That it's like a cleanse, and you just drink that all day. Distilled water, and you drink it all day, and that's it. You know, and you have maybe salad in the evening. So I was on that diet back in 2012, and so the maple syrup had to be a grade B, and you couldn't use a grade A. So a couple years after, I wanted to get back on the cleanse again. And I'm going into every grocery store trying to find the grade B. And I went to the same exact grocery store, and they're telling me they never had a grade B. They only had a grade A. So I'm like, this is crazy. I came here and you did have it, and they're telling me, no, we've never had it before. And I'm feeling like I'm losing my mind. I'm like, but that's what the recipe says. It's a grade B. And the lady argued me down. She was like, they have never produced a grade B maple syrup before. And so, and I know what I had because that's what the recipe called for. So that was my experience of the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
I got one too, where I had a neighbor who I would walk across his property to get to the street. He didn't mind. It was walk across the church, walk across his property, and he had a dog named Robert who would always jump at me like crazy and kind of annoying. And but eventually that stopped, and then I saw him one day walking with a dog that I did recognize that he had, in addition to a dog named Robert, as well as another dog that looked like a much bigger and much older version of Robert, and he named the dog Trapper. And I said, I feel it's kind of sad now that Robert doesn't screw around with me and jump at me when I walk across the property anymore. And he said, what are you talking about? I've never had a dog named Robert.
Uh-oh.
So that must be a sign that the Mandela effect has just taken effect on my neighbor, and the dog that used to jump at me isn't there anymore because that timeline doesn't exist. So,
oh my God. How do you feel when stuff like that happens?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
Well, it's just a sign that everything exists because our consciousnness tells us it exists.
Wow.
But that raises a question about like some of these prominent things that of Mandela effect, where like musical groups and people that you'd think would notice something, like the whole Berenstain Bears phenomenon thing with the Berenstein turning to Berenstain.
Yes.
I mean, there is a guy, Michael Berenstein, who he's carried on the legacy of his parents, the original Berenstein couple who created the Berenstein Bears. They're both dead, but their sons created the legacy.
Yes.
And you would think that, would he not remember a time where his name was with an E instead of an A? But no, there is actually something on the internet where somebody asked him about him, and he said, no, the name's always been had an A. And like the rock band Queen, the song We Are the Champions.
Yeah. Yes.
They used to say, we're the champions of the world. Well, if you were to ask the rock band Queen, guys, don't you remember back in the day when you sang the song, it's had we're the champions of the world? They would say, no, we never had that line. So
wow.
Wonder, okay, why are these people who not realizing this? Well, apparently the Mandela effect has a lot more power than we could have ever imagined, and consciousness in regards to making things exist. How do you guys make sense of that, where these prominent figures like the band Queen and Michael Berenstein don't recognize how things used to be relative to how they are now?
It's mind-blowing because we went on the internet, what was it? We were driving to Atlanta, and I told Chris about the Mandela effect. He's like, let's look it up. So I did. And the biggest one to me was Forrest Gump. And I'm looking.
Life is like a box of
he said, life is like a box of chocolate. That's what he said, because I used to look at Forrest Gump all the time when I was younger. That was one of my favorite movies. And now when I put it in, it says, my mama said life was like a box of chocolate. I'm like, that's not what he said.
No.
And it's everywhere. Like, you don't see it anymore. Even when you play the clip now it says life was like a box of chocolate.
I was like, come on now.
And it just makes you feel surreal. Like, it makes you wonder sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the best ways to describe this, I'm a big movie buff. Before I was awakened, I watched like tons of movies, and now it makes a lot of sense, because now when I look back with the open eye, I can see the difference. So there are two movies, for example. One most recent, the Infinity Wars with the Marvels movie.
Oh, wow.
When Doctor Strange went into a trance to see if they ever won the war against Thanos. And he looked through like millions of possibilities.
The probabilities.
And there's so many possibilities that are out there. Alicia was just telling one of our friends about this earlier. Whenever you make a decision, like say you're going to work, and you normally take the freeway to go to work, but this particular day you decide to take the street. Well, even though you took the street way, there's still another possibility of you driving on the freeway.
Yep.
And in that version that you had in your mind that you were thinking about going through first, you probably had gotten into a car accident.
And it's still having, and that self is having that experience.
Right.
That experience doesn't go away.
And with what's going on now, with all of these timelines collapsing, and people are experiencing all types of things right now, stuff like that happens.
Yep.
And that's why the power of the mind, the mind is so powerful, and people have to really understand it, that they are multidimensional beings having a human experience.
Not the other way around.
Right. And there's so much that you can do with your mind. That's why whenever someone has a decision to do something, it's always best to go with your first thought.
The first one. Go with that first, that gut, that intuition. Because I know a lot of people say this, I should have listened to myself.
Yep. And if they had listened to themselves, they would have been in a different scenario, living a better life, which there's so many decisions I wish I can go back and change right now.
Because you didn't listen to yourself.
I didn't listen to myself. But I'm glad for the decisions that I did make, because it brought me to this point today.
And then you learn from those experiences. Yep. So that's our take on that.
Thank you. By the way, looking at the last two videos videos here, some of the more recent ones, one that was uploaded just a day ago, you put the numbers 444 into the title. That's, I believe, the number, significance of that has to do with a lot of angels being with you. Someone told me once that the license plate number that I had on the back of my car, the last three digits were 444, and of all the things to notice, I had a lot of stickers on my car, but they noticed the three digits of the number 444, and they were like, I think the angels are with you, because...
Oh my goodness. Like, that's crazy. Do you still have that on your car today?
Yeah, and I never, it was just that I never chose that. That was just the number
that is so crazy. Listen, I have been having a series of events with these numbers. So I've been noticing that I'm having themes lately. So for this week, the theme was 1111 and 444 and 111. So I've just been seeing this everywhere I go, and it's pretty much driving me a little bit like on the other side, like, what do you want? Like, what is it? Tell me. Yeah. We were in the restaurant, and this is after seeing a series of ones everywhere. License plate, the alarm clock, the CD, just everywhere, one. This guy walks into the store. Guess what his shirt says?
1111.
Well, no, it was 111.
Yeah, 111.
I'm like, are you kidding me? It's just everywhere. 444 and 111. It has been just everywhere.
Yeah, and to speak about the 444. Now, the ones that you saw are actually spoken word poems that Leisha created, because the Awakened Minds 444 is actually her Instagram.
Yeah, that's my Instagram page.
That's her Instagram handle, but. We put that out to share her spoken word, and it's at first I was thinking about just putting Leisha's name on it. I was like, no, let me just put Awakened Minds 444.
Yeah, I started that Instagram account 3 months ago, and I wasn't sure what to name it, and then that just kind of came to mind, like, because that's what we're doing. We're bringing awareness.
Yeah, Wendy is.
So, so I just went with the first thing that came to my mind, which was Awakened Minds 444, because I always see 444.
Sean, what's up, Sean?
So that's where that came from. That's from my Instagram page. But the poem is actually taken out of my book that I wrote while I was going through the Dark Night of the Soul. A moth is also a butterfly. So it's called How Would You Remember Me? That's the poem in that video.
Yeah. There's actually 2 of them on there.
Yeah, we have 2 of them. But that was the most recent one.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll give you the opportunity now to make a little bit of a sales pitch out of this. You have a website, thirdeyeapparel.com. Yeah. And there's a bunch of things there that, I don't think I need to buy any of this myself, because I've pretty much exhausted the limit on what I've got in regards to crystals and pendants and whatnot, but I'm sure there's a lot of other people who can benefit from it. And it seems like a trend here in regards to the jewelry is you guys seem to like wrapping the metal wire around the crystal.
Yeah,
that's all
really tight to make sure that it doesn't
fall.
Well, I mean, is that just to make sure that the crystal doesn't fall off the thing, or is there the way you wrap it have some significance in regards to how the crystal's energy goes?
Well, kind of like just to give it like appealing. Make it appealing, and also to secure the crystal, and
also to energize
and to energize it, because copper and crystal goes really. Copper will like charge the crystal, because copper is very good for you. It kind of like alkalizes water. Copper is very good for the body in general. And the crystals, all of my crystals, they're always charged, because I make sure I charge them up under the moon. So they're nice and charged. So it's pretty much just to make sure that it holds nicely, it looks nicely, and it keeps a good charge for the crystal.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's what that is about.
Okay, you mentioned charging under the moon. Why is it that the moon is a much better crystal charger than the sun? I've even heard some people say you don't want to put some crystals in the sun. You can actually damage the crystal if you put it in the sun. But some crystals do benefit from the sun. Which crystal, can you tell us which crystals are good and are to put in the sun and which aren't, and why is the moon such a good crystal enhancer?
Well, the rose quartz actually thrives better in the sun. It actually brightens the color, the pink. It makes it brighter. But you might not want to put selenite or what's that? Himalayan sea salt. I don't think you might want to put it in the sun. I don't know. Those are really sensitive, and they it's like salt. They dissipate very easily. So you want to keep those in cool areas. The moon, I would say, it gives it a better charge because I think because of the energy that comes off of the moon. Because, around full moon, everybody's kind of put out their intentions, and it's just a lot of energy that's out there around that time, that full moon. So it's just kind of better to put your crystals, and you can also bury them in the soil to get them charged from the earth. Or you can do the moon. It's whichever one you feel comfortable doing. But the selenite and the Himalayan sea salt, you should never get those wet because they'll melt. They'll just disappear.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was recently doing some ritual of sorts where I was told by a deceased relative from several generations down on my father's side of the family, used as like a medium to channel this person, to put some black tourmaline and some other black grounding stones, as well as selenite around the property in certain layouts. Because my property that I'm on is some sort of a mound. A couple of churches actually are next door to me, so it's a very religious site. I'm sure Native Americans use it as a prominent religious site of sorts. And it was they told me this relative, you want to try to enhance the energies and such, so put the selenite and these black stones and also a quartz crystal pyramid, which I did put right in the middle of everything in the house, on the property. And even though many storms and rain showers have come through, I have noticed that the selenite crystal sticks that I have put on the property, they have not apparently dissolved or weakened in energy. Can I interpret that as a sign that these selenite sticks are staying intact because I have utilized them as a way of harnessing energy in the vortex in the way the family member wanted me to, so that's enabling the selenite to stay together better?
I would say that because selenite, I actually keep a selenite right around the door or by my bed. Selenite is good to transmute energies, kind of replenish the energy. And then those tourmaline that you have, tourmaline that you have, those are good for repelling negative energy. So with you have that going with the selenite, it's like it kind of formed a protection around your house almost. So that could be probably, listen, on the 3D, it doesn't make sense for it not to dissipate or for it not to dissolve. But on a spiritual level, it makes perfect sense why it's still standing up.
Yeah, because I was expecting those selenite sticks. I was like, just leave them there, let them dissolve, and let the essence go away. But the selenite sticks, even though I did this several months ago, they're still going strong, even though there's a lot of rain. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? How are these sticks lasting this long?
I'm impressed. And it's hard to impress me, and I'm impressed. That is amazing.
Yeah, well, what's sad is we're trying to sell the property and we haven't been able to sell it yet. I don't know I even did the thing where you bury St. Joseph's upside down in the ground, and that didn't.
You did that?
It didn't help. So I don't know what the universe is trying to tell us about. I told my parents, don't try to sell the house as is, because that sends a message to the universe that you don't really care about the condition of the house or the people that want to get it. You probably should spend a little money, and I have myself to improve the house and do some enhancements on it to tell the universe this house is worthy being sold.
I agree.
But whatever the case is, it hasn't been sold yet. But again, the fact that the selenite hasn't dissolved in all the rain showers does seem kind of impressive. Anyhow,
hey Andrew,
another thing that you guys, what is it?
That house, that's
Indian.
like it's been, how long has it been in the family?
We bought the house in 1991. It's been in existence since 1922, and again, it's on top of what probably was a mound that Native Americans did ceremonies on. There's a couple of churches on top of it, so it's definitely got a lot of energy to it, and that's probably why the deceased relative wanted me to put the stones around the property.
Yeah.
So,
because there's now this is just my intuition talking. If they asked you to put some type of protection around it, there's something there that they don't want anybody to get affected by. And anybody else that moves into that house is going to be affected badly by it. So there would have to be some type of cleansing that would have to go on to that house in order for it to sell.
Well, I don't know if it was so much of a cleansing as much of it as it was an energy activation. Because, like, sacred geometry speaking, like ley lines and such.
Ley lines. Oh, wow. This is like the third time this came up.
Prominent spot. And I don't think my property is very infested with negative energies. In fact, it should
it's not.
Daniel Teague of Vegas Star Healings, he's done a couple cleansings on the property with regards to clearing negative energy. So anybody who comes in here shouldn't be having bad vibes or
no, it's not so much a bad vibes, but it's like asking the entities that reside there for permission to sell it, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a feeling. Sometimes I'm able to pick up on certain things, and when something like that is going on, there's something that's blocking it. But there's something probably deeper that needs to be researched on it. I'm kind of fuzzy on it, but I'm just saying what came to mind. It may spark something down the road, and you can tell me if something comes of it or not. But there's something there that's blocking that.
Okay. Definitely worth looking into.
Yeah.
We've done all this we can. I mean, it's an expensive house. It's a 3-story house with a tenant house and a pool and a garage. And it's nothing. You want to have a big family that you're going to raise for a long time, and not everybody has that. So
True.
So that's a problem. So, but anyhow, enough about me and my life and what's going on. Let's talk about some of the things you have to offer. There's this thing called the Goddess Yanni Cleanse that you offer on your site. I'd like you guys to talk about what that's all about and how people can benefit from that. What's the science behind how that cleanses and cleans and does whatever it can do?
That's all Alicia.
That's my baby. That's my baby. The Goddess Yanni Cleanse has been around for many years. It's just an old tradition. Way back in the day, they use it in the Caribbean, and I know they use it in many other cultures. They especially used it after the menstrual cycle, a woman's menstrual cycle, and also they use it after a lady gives birth. And what it does, it gives like a rejuvenation and a cleansing. It's a combination of the herbs. You have like lavender, the rose petals, dandelion, and a few other basil. And it's just a combination of the herbs. And when it's steamed, it actually gets to penetrate the skin and goes into the vagina, the yoni, and it actually cleanses the yoni. Yeah. So it gives you a really clean, natural smell, and it's good for like if you're experiencing like I know some ladies get like yeast infections and stuff like that. It's actually very good for that. It keeps your the vagina at a healthy pH balance level, and that's taken into consideration that you are drinking a fair amounts of water, and you're not packing a lot of you're not on a very acidic diet, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it does really help with that. And Chris can confirm that it's very good.
Yes. The yoni cleanse is very useful. Because one of the things people like to talk about when it comes to twin flames is the sex part. So with the yoni cleanse, for whatever reason, I don't know how it works. It's just like you don't know how the microwave works, how it heats up the food. I know that it makes things feel a lot better. I'm just gonna say that. Now, the one thing that I will add that Leisha hasn't put in about the yoni cleanse is that traditionally a lot of people would get the yoni cleanse. They would steam up all of the herbs and throw it in the pot and stuff like that, which in some cases can be messy. But Leisha came up with the idea to create like a tea bag type thing, and she wrapped it with copper, because she loves wrapping stuff with copper, and rose quartz crystals around it to help charge the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So when the ladies are done using their yoni, the goddess yoni cleanse, the cleanup is really easy. They just take the bag, they dump it like a regular tea bag.
Yeah.
So it makes cleanup a lot easier. So
yeah, you get to smell like rose petals.
Yeah, and they do smell like rose petals.
You're so silly.
I'm sure it works well, and I got my own cleansing supplies to use too. Anyhow, some of the shirts that I see you have offering and some of the designs on them, boy, you might get a few people thinking that you work for the Illuminati. Free apparel, third eye apparel, whatever that looks like a pyramid. You sure that was a good idea? Did you actually have that in mind? Did you let's brainwash a few people thinking that we work for the Illuminati?
Right.
Just for fun? Is that what you were thinking?
No, it was actually an idea that came through me as an inspiration, because I wanted to get people to wake up and take away their perceptions of what's good and what's bad. Because when you look at the Illuminati, the Illuminati is just like a coin. There's two sides of it. There are people who use it for good, and there's people who use it for evil. Mm-hmm. And my whole idea behind the T-shirts that I created, like the first one was the fear one, which is false evidence appearing real, is to get people to question what's going on in their reality. What are you really afraid of? Because there were so many times that I was afraid to leave my job because I thought, how was I going to be able to make a life for myself? And then I came into union with Leisha, and we have kids to take care of. And it was like, how am I going to make it? But instead of letting fear block me, I went ahead and I took that plunge. And since then, the universe has been taking care of us month after month, day after day. Never go hungry. Always got a roof over our heads. Right now, we got lights on in our house. So the shirts that I create are, and my intention is to create, to get people to think.
Yeah, be like a trigger.
Yeah.
Get them to question stuff more often.
Yeah. And so that's the whole idea behind the design, to try to get rid of labels and get people to think outside the box and to really go within to question their own reality.
Mm-hmm. Raise the awareness, the consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Another shirt, the 3 keys, although the print is too small to read on the keys to see what those 3 keys actually say.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what those 3 keys are?
Yeah, that's one of my first designs. It wasn't that great, and I
like it.
But it has to deal with Nikola Tesla. It's like if you ever want to
understand the universe.
Yeah, if you want to understand the universe, you have to first look at frequency, vibration, and oh wow, now I'm drawing a blank.
It's vibration, frequency, and energy.
Yeah. So that's another thing. I don't know if that was too woke of a shirt to make, because because you really got to look at the shirt to see everything that's on it.
Yeah.
And my whole thought process behind it was to get people to understand that these are 3 major keys if you want to understand the universe. Is have a good knowledge of frequency, have a good knowledge of energy, and a good knowledge about vibrations, so that you can understand the universe.
Yeah, because that's it. Every day, all day, everything is energy, vibration, and frequency.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, another shirt that you got is the get in alignment with the chakras activated. The thing about chakras, though, I can't help but pick on George Cavassalis for this. He's one of the few people out there who say that chakras, that's so 3D reality. You got to move past that. It's better to just dissolve all the chakras into one, the one being the heart that he seems to think is the one key one. And you don't really need to go with chakras to just be the infinite love that you are, he asserts. My biggest issue with that is he's missing out on creativity and variety, not allowing for the other chakras to get involved. And also, so I've heard some people say that if you actually dissolve all your chakras into one, you're not going to have an aura anymore. Is there any truth to that, or can you still have an aura without having chakras?
That's actually new to us.
Yeah, that's new to us, because I've been because I've been reading some books on Edgar Cayce, as far as auras and colors and things of that nature. And through the books that I've read, I haven't heard of anything about the aura disappearing. Now, there may be some validity to what he's saying as far as the chakras, because for whatever reason, and this is just from my experience with the heart chakra, that's where I feel a lot of the energy coming from. And the heart chakra has to deal with a lot of stuff from emotions and things of that nature. So that's one of the strongest ones, other than the root chakra, which deals with a lot of 3D thinking, sexual energy, stuff like that. But the heart chakra is very very strong. And one of the connections that I've noticed is that when it comes to the heart is very powerful. It moves everything throughout our body, from the blood to the oxygen. And even if you were to meditate and you put your hand on your chest and you feel the heartbeat, and if you close your eyes and you can just visualize for every heartbeat, it's sending energy up to your pineal gland. And that was actually something that really helped activate my pineal gland when I did it. It's like I almost feel like Doctor Strange when the lady put her thumb on his head and just took him through the universe. But the heart is very powerful. So their heart chakra is very, very powerful. It is
very powerful, because think about it. Whenever they're trying to resuscitate someone, whenever they're trying to bring someone back, if their heart is faint, the first thing that they do is they get these the EKG, the electrical pulses, to bring it back.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of natural electric pulses around the heart.
Yeah.
More than it is in any place else, and then the brain too. But the heart, it's very electrical. So of course it will be powerful.
Yeah.
But to say that you don't really need any of the other chakras,
that's a far step.
That's far. Baby, he's gotten to enlightenment, and if you've gotten to enlightenment, then you shouldn't be here under 3D. That's just how we see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to navigate the 3-dimensional, you're probably going to need to have those energy points.
Yeah, and that's just the major ones that everybody know about. There's 12 other ones that people don't talk about, but the 7 main ones is what everybody knows.
Yes, I doing a lot of exercises with them myself to activate them, and Daniel Teague, of course, Vegas Star Healings, he's another person to get in contact if you ever need your chakras activated. Running out of topics of discussion here, but anyhow, one thing that I noticed here, maybe we'll end on this, and then anything you like after that, but seems like you get a kick out of differentiating between runners and chasers. What's that all about? Chasing and runners. I've never heard this before. A difference between a chaser and a runner. What can you define that, and what's that all about?
Well, that is a topic that is like number one for everybody who's in this twin flame journey.
Yeah, definitely number one.
And it's a part that a lot of people get tripped up on, because in a way they don't understand exactly what twin flames are.
Right.
And we've tried to do it in subtle ways to get people to understand, but through some intel, I guess I could say, that we've received, that we're going to actually start bringing it out more raw and uncut. But the thing that people get mixed up when it comes to the runner and the chaser is that it's really all about self-love, unconditional love, because the twin is you. They're a mirror reflection of you. And when one twin runs, most of the time they're running from themselves.
Yep.
There's some aspect of themselves that they're not willing to face. And the running and chaser phase is a trigger to really do some inner self work. And once they are able to do that inner self work and clear those blockages, then maybe they will come into union with the actual twin to have a harmonious relationship, or they'll just learn from that lesson, move on about their lives, do their life mission, do the major work that they're supposed to do on this earth, and make great things happen.
Pretty much.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, that being said, we've not quite reached 2 hours yet, but I think maybe best to bring the show to an end. Lousy attention spans people have, so good to get a kick out of that. But again, it drives me nuts that that's the number one reason why my view count isn't as high as it could be for my channel and whatnot. So, but anyhow, get out anything you like in these last however many minutes you want to get it out. If there's anything you want to say in regards to like future things that you're doing and things that you think people can benefit from, as far as the events that you're going to, the thing you said you're doing in March, when is that? I'm going to India in March for the International Yoga Festival.
Nice.
If you're doing that's in the first week though. If you're doing something after that later in March, whatever that event is, can you tell me when that is? Maybe I'll jump on the bandwagon for that. So
absolutely.
Well, one thing I would like to do, because right now we are live on YouTube right now, and we've had quite a few people hold in strong with us for like an hour and 45 minutes.
That's so cool.
So I just want to send a big thank you to everybody who is tuning in to this, and they're going through all the comments and everything. But one of the things that I would like to say, the whole reason why we started this journey, started this YouTube channel and everything, is because when we first started going through our awakening and trying to figure things out, there wasn't anybody out there really for us to connect with
or talk to
that could help us out. And so we started this whole journey with the intent to help as many people as we can go through this process of waking up, finding their true power, and actually recognizing that they are the true power that they've always searched for.
Exactly. And also, we just want to let you guys know that if you need someone to talk to, we're here. You can just go to our website, or you can drop a comment, www.thirdeyeapparel.com. And you can book a session with us. We have free sessions, and we also have paid sessions, depending on what you need help with. But we're always here.
Yeah. And if you follow us on Instagram, you can actually book a session on there too.
Yeah, our messages.
twinflame_unite. And that's singular, twinflame_unite. On Instagram, they can actually book sessions with us as well. Because that's our whole thing. That's the whole reason why we decided to get out of the rat race and not really deal too much with the matrix stuff, 3D stuff, because we understand that there are a lot of people that are waking up. A lot of people are looking at these videos. They're looking at videos that Andrew has. They're looking at videos that a lot of people that are in the spiritual community, that are in the know, that are trying to help people. We're all here to help y'all through this process so that you don't feel lost.
Exactly. And you can understand what is 3D, what is 4D, what is 5D. It's just a higher perspective, and that's what we're here for. So that's pretty much what we wanted to say, Andrew.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you on. It's not very often I get a duo on, but this was one of the best duo shows I've ever done. And kudos again to Sean, Margaret Cohen.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We love her.
Sean, thank you so much
girl.
for this connection.
We love you.
And after this video loads, we will put a link to Andrew's channel.
Yes.
I just saw somebody ask about Andrew's channel, so we definitely will put a link in our thank you, Sean. She just
there she goes.
Sean already showing you some love, Andrew. But yeah,
listening live. Yeah, she used to listen live all the time until I started doing pre-records. Long story there. Still looking for a medium. Unfortunately, the last medium I tried to find a live show with, they told me, sorry, we're all booked, but we'll get back to you if we have an opening. So, I'm still looking. So. Trying to monetize my show too in a way so I can quit my day job, but that's a ways away as well.
We got something for that. We'll tell you about that after the show.
Great. So glad to hear. So I will upload this by hopefully tomorrow at the latest. When I upload it to my channel, you can feed two birds with one seed as well and upload it to your channel as well.
Right.
So. Without further ado, namaste.
Namaste. Love and light.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. Once again, thank y'all so much
you
for
guys are so loyal.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we had some major
you
comments
guys are so
in here.
Loyal.
Wow. Thank y'all
you
so
guys
much
are so beautiful.
for all of the love and support. Man, I'm just going here looking through the comments.
They're making me want to cry.
Thank y'all so much. And yes, this was a long interview, Regina.
Yes.
But we got some good information out of it. And once again, I apologize for the title. YouTube's been acting crazy. It was supposed to say interview with Andrew Fisher, but we got sex talk on here. Wow.
They trying to set us up. They setting us up.
But we will be doing a sex talk video. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and schedule it for Friday. We're going to do it at 10 a.m.
What's today?
Today's Wednesday.
Okay.
It's Wednesday. Wednesday. But yeah. So Friday at 10 a.m. You will see it shortly after this video. I'm going to go ahead and schedule it. Because we got a lot of people that want to talk about the...
Let's talk about...
sex.
We can't do that. We don't own the rights.
I ain't paying no rights. but yeah, definitely keep an eye out for it. And if you all are on here and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Go ahead and
join
subscribe.
The family.
Believe me, we're warm, inviting. You can check the comments. We're always down in the comments going through it. And if you all like our channel and you've been supporting us from day one, we have been open up for donations as well. If you look in the description of this video, there will be a link below where you can make a donation towards this channel. It's just going to help towards growing this channel and give us more opportunities to do more free sessions with people that need help through their spiritual guidance and their spiritual path. So
that's what we're here for. We love you guys so much. I love this YouTube channel. I love all of our subscribers. And namaste.
Namaste. Peace.